The Forties Formula.
The Forties Formula.
Forties Formula.
Live.
Hosted by Jasmin Dhillon, integrated health strategist and founder of Eat with Jasmin, and Amanda Lim, director of Lift Clinic and a leading expert in female strength and metabolism. Named one of CNA's top podcasts and a finalist for Best Health and Wellness podcast. The Forties Formula is your no-fluff, science meets real-life guide to thriving in your 40s.
Coming up in today's episode, we're talking breaking up with sugar. Why are we so addicted to sugar? What is the biological hardwiring that makes us want this food? Our brains haven't changed, our biology is still the same, but our food environment has.
Quitting sugar is just as hard as quitting drugs.
Addiction is a disease. Sugar addiction is a habit loop.
Can Ozempic help with your sugar cravings?
Ozempic definitely isn't going to prevent you from eating.
Evidence suggests that eating high sugary foods can cause depression and anxiety.
All right, before we dive into today's episode, let's talk about something that makes our lives way easier.
And tastier, because let's be honest, between work, workouts, and life, we don't exactly have time to wrestle the trolleys at the supermarket.
Which is why we've been with the Meat Club since the beginning of the Forties Formula.
Yep, they've had our back since episode 1 and tasty dinners on our plates too.
With the Meat Club, you skip the supermarket chaos and get premium nutritious proteins delivered to your door on your schedule.
It's a subscription that actually simplifies life. No last-minute grocery runs, just quality meats, seafood, fruits, and veggies always ready when you are.
Their mission says it all. Good food is the foundation of a great life. And with the Meat Club's delivery, it's coming literally to your doorstep.
This is where quality meets convenience, and we're here for it.
All right, TMC drop check. Let's see what we got here. Oh, well, first things first, you can't have Taco Tuesdays without snapper.
But what about salmon? Because that's definitely our favorite.
Okay, fair enough. But chicken breast, that's the workhorse we're eating every single day.
I think it's all about the chicken thighs.
Oh my gosh, chicken thighs. I don't know if I could get one down myself, but I do know that this mince makes a mean burger.
Who wants burgers when you can have a grass-fed beef eye fillet steak?
Okay, that is amazing. But with that steak, I would definitely be serving this delicious broccoli and spicing it up with these chilies.
Okay, you've definitely won there. I have got some coriander, some cherry tomatoes. I mean, check out the color on those. And for dessert, strawberries.
We also got some fruit for the kids, which they will love. And one of the coolest thing about the subscription, an amazing quality chef's knife and a beautiful wooden cutting board.
Honestly, it's the easiest way to eat well without overthinking it.
So if you're ready to upgrade your meals without adding to your mental load, head over to themeatclub.com.sg.
Sign up for the flexible subscription, no lock-ins, just high-quality proteins delivered straight to you.
And don't forget to use our code TFF12 to save $12 off your first order.
We'll drop it in the show notes, or you can find it on our Instagram.
The Meat Club, where quality meets convenience.
We are so glad to have so many of you here, and a massive thank you to the Green Collective for sharing their space with us, and also to Guzman y Gomez for the yummy burritos, which I will have, but after the show, because needs to be on top form right now.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. The sponsors are why we're able to do this. And our platinum sponsor, the Meat Club, who's been with us since season 1, thank you so much for your continued support as well.
I'm Jasmin. I'm your host. I'm an integrated health strategist, a mom of 3 boys, and a nutrition nerd.
And I'm Amanda, metabolic health coach and director of Singapore-based Lift Clinic. I'm also a mom of 3 and a sugar-suspicious parent. And the reason that we are all here today is to talk about sugar. Why are we addicted to it? What does it do to our bodies and our brains? And what can we do to protect ourselves against the effects of sugar?
Okay, so let's start with the not so fun fact. Did you know that the average woman consumes over 22 teaspoons of sugar in a day, and that's without even realizing it?
And that's average, guys. That means that there's higher than that.
Yeah, and you know what? This is not a question about willpower. There is something deeper going on.
And here's what I'll say, right? So we kind of like build this event as break your sugar addiction, right? Or breaking up with sugar, which I like better, because I don't know that I'm fully in the addiction camp as a metabolic health coach, right? Addiction, again, my husband right now is going through his graduate diploma in mental health as a Singapore. Yeah, right? Thank you. Proud of him. He finishes next month. Thank God. Anywho, And so he studies addiction, right? He's in the Institute of Mental Health here in Singapore looking at addicts. And the reality is nobody is in that institute because they're addicted to sugar. Okay, can we be real? Like addiction is a disease. Sugar addiction is a habit loop. And I think honestly, when we're talking about sugar, we have to be really specific about what does it mean to be addicted to something, or what does it mean to have crafted an environment, a brain pattern, a behavior around the consumption of sugar. And I think that's what we're really going to break down for you guys today. What are the differences?
So before we get going, we're going to have a little...
Like a game.
Yeah. So we're going to call it Hot or Hype. And we're going to be breaking down some sort of trending health advice or trending health news that's been going on and what we think about it. So first of all, right, Amanda, Hot or Hype? People say that quitting sugar is just as hard as quitting drugs.
Oh my God, hype. Okay, so for example, the withdrawal symptoms that you get from drugs are way harder than the withdrawal symptoms you get from sugar. That being said, the dopamine hit that you get from sugar is just like the stuff you get from drugs. So while the addiction part, like I said, not so hot, it's a little bit of hype, the way that it hits your brain, hot. All right, gal, sugar, worse than other carbs, hot or hype?
I'm going to say hot-ish because sugar is the fast and furious kind of carb. What it does is it spikes your blood sugar level, crashes, and basically gets you into this rut. So, yeah, it's not like the slow kind. It's not like your steel-cut oats. It's not like vegetables or legumes or even fruit. It's basically the stuff that's going to mess you up. Right. What do you think about fruit, Amanda? People say fruit is bad for you if you're trying to lose weight. What do you think?
Guys, straight up hype. All right. So here's the thing. I'm definitely in the camp where any food can be integrated into a healthy diet as long as you're paying attention to the overall balance and portions of food in the diet, right? So any nutritionist who's going to come at you and say categorically fruit is bad or categorically eliminate everything sweet, they're not living in the real world, you guys. Fruit can be part of a healthy diet. Any whole food absolutely can, and even some fun foods as well. All right, how about this one? This is a similar vein, right? Cane sugar is better than high fructose corn syrup, maltodextrin, processed forms of sugar. Hot or hype?
I'm going to say big, fat hype. Sugar is sugar, okay? It doesn't matter what form it comes in. Once it's in your body can't tell whether it's an organic cane sugar, whether it is high fructose corn syrup. It basically processes it in the same way. Right. Can Ozempic help with your sugar cravings?
Ooh, guys. Okay, so you know that I work in a metabolic health clinic where we do prescribe Ozempic, Wegovy, now Mounjaro, by the way. It's in Singapore. Yeah, it just arrived. We prescribe these weight loss drugs. And here's what I will say, right? Ozempic itself is not going to necessarily prevent you from eating sugar, but it definitely is going to prevent you from eating food, okay? Because it works on the appetite mechanism. GLP-1 agonist drugs, they work on your appetite sensors. They make you feel a sense of satiety. So they don't allow for cravings to even happen because you're not hungry, you don't have an appetite. So will it hit sugar specifically? That's a little bit of hype. But will it help you overall address the hyperpalatability of food and the appetite drive and control the food noise that makes you eat sugar? That's hot. That's a hot take. All right, guys. People say sugar causes mood swings. Hot or hype?
Definitely hot. Right. If you jump onto the sugar roller coaster, you're going to be left feeling down, low. There's actually evidence which suggests that eating high sugary foods can cause depression and anxiety.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a hot take.
Right. What do you think about policy, Amanda? Can warning labels and nutrition labels really help control the amount of sugar people eat?
Yeah. So this is one that I feel strongly about because my background in a prior life was in policy and health policy. And I think it's interesting what some other countries are doing in this regard. So Mexico, for example, they introduced a sugar tax on sugar-sweetened beverages, SSBs in the literature, guys. And they found that by taxing sweet beverages, sweet beverage consumption has gone down. A equals B, man. So I think in some ways, putting your money where your mouth is when you're trying at the population level to control sugar is really popular. In America, you know this, girl, people don't love being taxed on stuff that is free will, right? Meaning like, don't you tell me what to consume. I'm going to drink my 3-liter of soda. All right, last one, right? People say it's not the sugar itself, it's when you eat the sugar. Does timing make a difference, hot or hot?
I'm going to say hot. Okay, guys, there's a good time to eat sugar and a bad time to eat sugar. Eating sugar first thing in the morning, bad. Eating it late at night, bad. But actually having it maybe after exercise or after a meal, which is balanced, like with sufficient protein in there, with sufficient fat in there, you're probably going to have a lower glucose spike than you would if you had it in the morning or late at night when you're more insulin resistant. So yes, timing counts. Just be, I guess, creative when it comes to eating. Definitely have it as a dessert rather than a meal on its own.
Yeah, true story.
Yeah.
True story. Timing does matter, guys. All right. So that's a little bit of the hotter hype around sugar, hopefully touching on some of the things that you guys have already been thinking about. And I want to take the time now to let you all know that we are super open to questions. We're going to have like a Q&A part at the end for like your specific questions, but we are not opposed to like if something comes up as we're talking, throw a hand up and we'll take it. Like you don't need to throw us off the cards. Like it's totally cool. So if you guys have something that you're thinking about before we get to the Q&A, please, please, please ask it. But that being said, let's talk a little bit about why we are so addicted to sugar. What is the biological hardwiring that makes us want this food, right? Because it does feel that way sometimes.
Oh, totally.
Like it's in our soul.
So it actually does go back to evolutionary times. You are designed to want to crave and find and eat sweet foods. Sweet food in the wild meant that it was safe. It was good. It was going to give you energy. It was going to give you the nutrition you needed. You'd be looking for fruit, honey, those types of food to give you the amount of energy you needed to get through, I guess, the summer, the day, the year, whatever it is. And bitter foods actually meant that it could be poisonous. So you're more inclined to eating. I mean, some people do like bitter food. My mum, for example, likes bitter gourd. Definitely not my...
I love bitter gourd. We love bitter gourd.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
My mom's here in the audience, guys.
But yeah, so that could have been a sign that it was poisonous. But, you know, the sweet food definitely meant it was safe.
Yeah. And also, if you think about when fruits are at their sweetest, it's usually in the warm season before the cold season, right? So think your summer, peak of summer into early fall. And the reason that sweet foods get their, sweetest and ripest at that time is because they want us to eat them in quantity to put on the body fat to store for the cold season. So that's why fruits in the height of summer, August, September, right, taste their best, because they're also at their most sugar dense, they're most energy dense, and they're going to help us put on the extra weight that we might need to face the winter cold. So there's true evolutionary reasons that we crave it, right? This is, we talk about this because so much in our practice, we get women, particularly women, feeling guilty about wanting sugar, feel guilty about their cravings generally, right? There are hormonal reasons we're going to get to in a sec, and there are natural reasons in our biology that we're hardwired to want it. So if there's one takeaway from this episode that we want you guys to take with you, it's not to feel guilt or shame over your cravings, but to get knowledge and empowerment about how to beat them, right?
Yeah.
Outsmart the system.
Nature wants us to be fat, okay, guys?
Especially women, right? Nature wants us to bear kids, man. I'll tell you what. All right. We had enough, though.
Yeah, we're done. Okay, so let's go back about 200 years. In about 1820, people were eating about 4 pounds of sugar a year. That's about 2 kilos. Now it is about 150 pounds. Don't make me do the math. 75-ish? 75 kilos?
Yeah.
That is a hell of a lot. That's more than me. More than how much I weigh. More than me.
More than a Jasmin pillar of sugar. People are eating every day. Oh, my gosh. And, back to the types of sugar that we were talking about earlier, right? Your processed sugar, your maltodextrins, your cane sugar, not your cane sugar, your high fructose corn syrup. These are the base of ultra processed foods, right? UPFs. Have you guys heard of UPF, that term, ultra processed? It basically means foods that are designed, engineered, created for us to overeat them. And sugars of all kinds are going to be in that style of food. And the rise of that style of food, with sugar becoming cheaper through the 20th century, with people, greater demand for those type of fast, convenient, high energy foods, those things have, again, created an environmental element that plays on our human biology, right? Any of you guys who are familiar with marketing tactics, you know that what you want to do is play into human nature, right? You don't want to fight it. If you play into what is already happening, you will have a leg up in marketing. So if you provide foods that are easily accessible, super palatable, make our brains light up with that dopamine hit, you're going to have a
Consumer for life.
consumer for life. Exactly.
And you know what it is our brains haven't changed. Our biology is still the same, but our food environment has. And this is why we are really struggling now, because we're not designed to eat and have access to the type of foods that we have in today's environment.
Yeah, not all the time, at least, right? So let's talk about the brain on sugar, right? So we talked about earlier how the hit of sugar provides that dopamine, right? So it gives us that kind of, stimulus that makes us want more. And the thing about sugar that is like drugs is that it takes more to get that hit the more you have it. So the more often or in the greater portion that you get that reward, the more and more your body will demand it. So there definitely is a reinforcement that your brain clicks on the more that you eat sugar.
And again, so the more you eat, the more you want. Like you could have one chocolate bar a day and it's fine. Then after a while, that one chocolate bar is not doing the same thing. So you know what? I'm going to have two. At one point, I went through 7 or 8 chocolate bars. Like, I know that sounds really gross now, and I actually feel sick thinking about it, but I did not get the same feeling I used to get. And what I found was it wasn't that I was eating to light up my brain. It was because I needed that feeling that I got from eating the sweet stuff.
The reward.
The reward, exactly.
Yeah.
The reward.
We were listening to your podcast. Maybe some of you guys are familiar with Peter Attia, a pretty popular health and fitness podcast.
I kind of fancy him a little bit.
Yeah.
By the way.
He's like on Jasmine's hot list. With all,
I think it's his brain. I like his brain.
His brain. Anyway, but so he had a guest on named Charles Duhigg. Charles Duhigg is the author of The Power of Habit. This is like the first ever kind of habit manual. This is even before James Clear came out with Atomic Habits. So this is like in the day. And he had Charles Duhigg on just recently. So if you guys are listening, definitely check that out. But basically what he was talking about is like the cue and the reward. This is what creates a habit, right? It's the cue and the reward. It's like, I am stressed, cue, I seek chocolate bar, reward. And the first time that happens, that one chocolate bar satisfies it.
Yeah.
But the more habituated that cue becomes, every time I'm stressed, every time, then the amount needed, the amount of chocolate or reward in this case, to make that pattern give you that same feeling is more. So the second time you go back, it's 2 or 3. Or 7. It's a chocolate bar and you dip it in the open peanut butter jar and scoop the peanut butter into your mouth using the chocolate as a spoon. Yeah,
I'm with you. Don't worry, Sarah. I'm with you there.
Again, these are not examples from real life, but completely fabricated. But I think that actually plays in really well to some of the behavioral issues that we have with sugar, which is like, how many of us women, and honestly, if you don't raise your hand, I swear you're lying to me, have been told, like, just have 1 square of dark chocolate and that will quell your chocolate cravings. Like the 1 square theory, right? Like it's in every women's magazine. Just have 1 square and it'll. But the reality is this, your brain doesn't work that way.
No.
Your brain doesn't work on 1 square, wrap the 5 squares from the bar and put it back in the fridge.
Because you know where the fridge is. It's so easy to get back to the fridge.
Yeah. And again, once you open that, once you open those floodgates, there is some, like I said, biological response that keeps you wanting more. So thank you for being brave and offering that up. Does anybody else have a specific sugar food that like is the food for them?
Maybe not so healthy as dark chocolate.
Yeah, Amelia. The sugar gummies.
Yeah, that's great.
And okay, again, you guys are going to think I'm like Charles Duhigg super fan over here, but he just so happened to talk about gummies in the podcast. And so basically saying the reason that when we were kids, like, did you have vitamins when you were a kid?
Yes.
Did you have Flintstones vitamins? Is that an American
did, yes.
thing?
No, there were.
And
we had the
Flintstone and they're chewables?
vitamins.
Right, they were like the chewables.
We also had there were some teddy bear ones which were there were teddy bear ones which were hard, so not chewable.
Like hard
powdery
candy?
hard.
Like when you suck them down?
I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So either way, right, even back then, they were capitalizing on like, hey, kids like sugary stuff that looks like candy, feels like candy, whatever. Well, gummy vitamins, guys, those didn't even exist when we were kids. And now I know many adults that are taking gummy vitamins. And the reason for that is because marketers got smart and they were like, people love gummy stuff. People will pay a premium for a gummy vitamin, even though it literally, I hate to break everyone's heart that is taking a gummy vitamin, but like it's another sugar delivery system. to get unless they are the sugar-free ones, right? But a lot of them are not, sadly. But researchers are not dumb. Marketers are not dumb. They know that the texture of a familiar sweet food is a gateway into a behavior that you want to induce. So again, that was wildly successful for the vitamin market, but it should give you a clue, like I said, to why it's so hard in your own life to quit. The combination of texture, fat, sugar, these are the things that drive us.
Sometimes salts, like a salty sweet thing is delicious.
Yeah. And how many of y'all out there have kids?
Too many.
So a lot, I would say the majority of folks out here have kids. And I think for folks with kids, it's important to know that this drive towards sugar, this dependency, this habit loop, it forms quicker and is more long lasting the earlier it starts. So for kids and teens, all this stuff I've been talking about with the brain waves and kind of the connection to emotions and stuff like that, it's stronger in kids and teens.
Yeah.
The feeling of dependency is stronger for them. It's more present for them. And again, the longer duration that they spend in this habit loop, the harder it will be able to make and break as an adult. So just again, that's not, I know I said I feel like I'm always bringing the downer information.
Yeah,
However,
sorry guys.
However, this is also the real talk. So yeah, for those of you with kids and teens, just know that sugar creates an even harder habit loop for them to break than us.
Right, physiologically, sugar will affect your hormones, your gut, as well as your body, and will give you extra cravings like we've spoken about. When you have sugar, it can cause a glucose spike and then a crash. And then you get sucked into this loop. And basically, when you hit that crash, you're going to be feeling foggy and angry and hungry. And then you're going to reach for some quick energy again, which tends to be sugar. You get sucked into this sort of cycle.
Yeah. And again, foggy, angry, hungry. These are also things I hear with women in perimenopause.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Like these are also symptoms that we are experiencing even without the sugar roller coaster, right?
So and these are also triggers, which are the cues for you wanting to have more sugar.
Yes.
You're feeling like shit. I need something that's going to make me feel better. Let's go for some chocolate.
Yeah.
Maybe not dark chocolate for me. Probably.
Yeah. I have a bunch of clients that struggle with obviously reaching for sugar or carbohydrate dense foods when they're tired. And obviously, the main issue there is sleep deprivation. We could do a whole other episode on sleep, by the way. So we'll talk about sleep another day. But the point is, for whatever reason you're not sleeping or feel tired, your body is going to release more of the appetite-inducing hormone called ghrelin. It's going to release more of that to inspire you to seek out food. And again, your body is not dumb. It's looking for energy. What is the quickest release energy the body can get? Sugar, glucose, glycogen. These are the things that hit our bloodstream fastest to produce energy the fastest. That's why when you see, triathletes and marathoners, right, they're sucking down like maltodextrin supplements, whatever hits the bloodstream fastest, that's because they know that's where you're going to get your energy from first. So your body does that for you in the sense of giving you a sugar craving when you're tired. So it's, again, not a perception thing that when you're tired, you eat worse. It's a reality thing. Because your body is driving you toward the foods that will give you the quickest release of energy, right? So these are the things to remember, especially if you struggle with, sleep restriction or more interrupted sleep. You should definitely consider whether improving your sleep is actually the hidden key to improving your diet.
And actually, when you are, Sarah, but when you are sleep deprived, you're more insulin resistant.
Also
and when
true.
your body can't process that sugar in the correct way, you're going to end up suffering more. You'll end up gaining weight. Yeah. You'll end up needing more sugar. Then again, you get sucked into the whole thing all over again.
Yeah.
So sugar actually does also disrupt your gut. For those of you who are aware of the gut-brain axis, that can then lead to mood swings and depression, anxiety, all of that stuff. But it does feed the bad bacteria in your gut. It can also drive yeast overgrowth. So for those of you who've ever suffered from thrush or candida, any of those symptoms, those are all symptoms and as a result of excess sugar in the diet.
Yeah. All right. So again, I hope we've got you guys convinced by now that sugar's not going to be the best thing for us to have in excess, and that there are reasons that we seek out sugar that are not entirely within our control. But we want to talk about why the modern world makes it so hard for us to control these things, even with the knowledge, right? Even if we, it's that age-old question in coaching. If we know better, why don't we do better? right? And that's because there are so many things working against us systemically in controlling this issue.
Right. When you're busy and you've got kids and you're hungry and you're tired, what are you going to go for? You're going to go for the things that are marketed in a way which seem healthy, but really aren't. Let's think things like granola bars or yogurt or acai bowls. I'm sorry, guys. I love acai sometimes, but sometimes it does have too much sugar in there.
Yo, sometimes acai bowls have like a chokehold on folks, and I cannot understand why, because they are real sugar dense, guys.
Smoothies, all of that stuff. You know, all of this stuff that is targeted as being a health food is actually a hidden sugar bomb.
Yeah. And then so, obviously things that are targeted as healthy but not healthy can work against us. Things that have other components. So, for example, caffeine. So I when I'm working with clients, I know. So no, nothing. First of all, I would never speak ill of my best friend Caffeine.
Yeah.
Okay. What if she's listening? But no, first of all, is like when we pair the sugar with the caffeine, the hit is even greater. So if you guys think about things like sweetened coffee drinks, right? And I'm not even talking, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm not even talking Frappuccino, which is like obvious, right? With like the chocolate chips and stuff. I'm talking straight up even lattes to some extent, right? I was shocked, not being Australian, I was shocked to know that flat whites, contain sugar.
Oh, okay.
That's like part of the thing. That's like part of what makes it flat whitey, that they put like a little tiny bit of sugar in it. And again, the soy milk that they use in those flat whites or the oat milk, right? That has sugar in it. So there's all these kind of hidden sugars.
Amanda, can we talk about how clean Guzman y Gomez's food is? Like truly clean, not the it has lettuce, so it's healthy kind of clean.
Oh, totally. GYG is on another level. There's no preservatives, no artificial colors, no weird additives. It is just proper, real food.
I read that they went through 21 versions of their corn chips before they found the one. Now that's commitment.
And they fly in their avocados and tomatoes daily from Australia to Singapore. That is the level of commitment I want in my food.
You can taste it, whether it's the burritos, the bowls, or those Chipotle seasoned fries. You just feel good after eating it.
And it's really why my entire family keeps going back. Clean is the new healthy, and GYG has been leading that charge since day one.
They've literally reinvented fast food. Who says it has to be dodgy and deep fried? Not on GYG's watch.
If you want to talk about what makes something addicting, add a component that also gives you energy in addition to the sugar hit, right? So it's like if you really want to get kind of caught in a habit loop of something, add another reward-inducing substance to the original one, right? So add caffeine to the sugar, right? Add fat to the sugar to the caffeine. That's like a Java chip Frappuccino for you in short. But again, companies know this. And so they create these products to work against us. And it's not, necessarily our fault, but it is within our control. That's, an underlying message for me.
You also find that on their nutrition labels, they're not going to say sugar. They might have other names on there that you've probably either never heard of, don't even associate as being sugar. Maltodextrin, which Amanda said before, cane juice, brown rice syrup.
Oh, that's a big one in Asia.
Fructose. Like you see fructose and you think, oh, that's from fruit. It's fine. It's actually just the sugar without the fiber component.
Yeah.
So maple syrup, honey, there are like 60 different aliases to sugar. And obviously it's really tough to kind of know what can be what. But a little tip, if it ends with O's, it's probably got some kind of sugar in there. Maltose, fructose, sucrose. Yes, all of that stuff.
All the O's are going to bring you some sugar. Exactly. How many of you guys consider yourselves label readers? Like you look at the labels of your food generally. Okay, the majority here, right, for our listeners that are on audio. So here's a question. Thinking back to what I mentioned earlier about Mexico and India, right, policy-based stuff. Knowing that you guys are label readers, does it make a difference for you if you see the calories or sugar information of foods in restaurants? Does that affect your choice? Like generally?
A lot of people are nodding their heads.
Majority, yes, folks are raising their hands. Because the science says no. The science says no. I know. Generally, those interventions of printing calories, it's really done on calories, so I guess I can't say for sugar specifically, but printing calories on menus doesn't seem to change behavior.
And I tell you why, and this is my opinion, so not fact or anything like that, but I wonder if you're going out for a meal, you've already made the decision you're going to be going out, you're going to be enjoying yourself, and you see the calories, you might think, oh, fuck it, I'm here. This is my cheat meal. This is what I'm doing. What do you think? I'm seeing lots of people nodding. Do you think that could probably be it? I will go to a restaurant and I'll think, oh, it's fine. I'm out today. I've made this conscious decision. I'm going to have the 1,500 calorie crazy shake from Black Tam.
Yeah, like I know what it is. I've dug my grave. Yeah. No, it's true. For those of you who have changed behavior based on seeing the calories on the menu, what do you do instead? Like, do you go straight for the lowest calorie thing then, or do you just does it just maybe make
Find
you
something in the middle?
Like I would love to hear an actual real life story of what you do.
I would evaluate. So based on the choices that I was already potentially going to make and what I've already eaten in the day, I might say, well, that's okay, or it's not. And exactly like you've said, I might choose the larger calorie option because of what I've eaten in the day, or fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. Because fuck it.
But equally, evaluate what I would potentially have already chosen, and maybe I would choose the healthier option. But it gives me a better idea of what my overall calories might be in the day, and how I might balance my next meal before or after, right?
Yeah. I'm a huge believer of knowledge is power, right? What you choose to do, like with everything that we've dumped on you guys today, right? What you choose to do with this evolutionary knowledge is up to you. But at least you can't say you don't know. And I think that's why I am always going to vote for having calorie counts on menus, having warning labels on foods, having sugar tax, whatever it may be. I'm always going to vote for it because I do think that conditioning behavior and giving information is an important first step. Personal thoughts.
So you guys know my husband, Dean?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
he's actually working with MOH now.
Yes.
Or since COVID.
And for our listeners outside of Singapore, Ministry of Health.
Yes, Ministry of Health. So if you're talking about like governmental influence like Mexico and India on sugar. So if you have noticed at restaurants with drinks on the menu, it will have a grade, A, B, C, D, and it's measuring or it's grading the amount of sugar that's in that drink.
Yes.
So you'll see a lot of like the juices, juice boosts, or I don't know, so the other ones, they actually have a lot of D's and C's and B's. There's a lot of sugar. But the thing is, they are actually hiring behavioral analysts to see how they will change their addiction.
The actual purchasing.
Right, because you can't change, because Singapore, diabetes is an epidemic right now.
Crazy.
So MOH is super concerned about the sugar, especially in the hawker centers.
Yeah.
And so like breaking the habits, I would love to understand that. But, evolution, I'm going to tell Dean that and see if that can be added to the behavioral change.
So just in case folks couldn't hear, and again, if you couldn't hear the full question, you will hear it on the recording. So check it out. But basically what Sarah was mentioning is that the Ministry of Health here in Singapore rolled out a program called Nutri-Grade. And I'm sure you've all seen it. You get a grade A, B, C, or D based on the sugar content and saturated fat, which we'll talk about in a sec, why Nutri-Grade drives me nuts a little bit. And saturated fat, you get an A, B, C, or D grade. Alongside that grade, the A, B, C, or D, you'll also see a little tiny percentage, and it will tell you what % sugar that thing is. So this is an added piece of information. It makes the grade system obviously makes it exceptionally clear because we all understand grades, right? Especially in Singapore, we all understand.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He has that lead time coming in. But you also get to see what percentage of sugar you're about to have, right? So the grading system plus the sugar percentage isolated out, I think is awesome. The issue is this. I'll give you 2 issues of Nutri-Grade, okay, as a policy system. First issue is that whole milk, or what they call here full cream milk, has a Nutri-Grade C, which makes you think it is a bad choice for you and your family. And this is the key thing, right? Back to my very first point of everything in balance and there are no off-limit foods. Particularly for children, full cream milk is what they should be drinking, okay? With very few exceptions, right? Obviously obese children and some other complications aside. So giving it a Nutri-Grade C sends the message to parents that this is not the right choice for my child. Yeah. And it might direct them toward a less good choice, like a low sugar juice, for example, that doesn't provide the other nutrition that a full cream milk would provide. So that's my one issue, is that the saturated fat is also factored into
Doesn't Milo have a higher grade ranking?
Low sugar Milo.
Milo.
Yeah, Milo Sudai has a higher Nutri-Grade than full cream milk, and that is an issue.
Yeah.
Second issue, Coke Zero has a B. Coke Zero has a B. For those of you who are non-soda drinkers, Coke Zero is a zero sugar product. It has no calories and it has no sugar, but it does not have a Nutri-Grade A because it is still Coca-Cola, in essence, it still has additives and chemicals. And so they don't consider it an optimal nutrient choice like something like water itself. And again, by the way, I'm not saying that Coke Zero should be replacing water, please understand. But is it necessarily a poor choice for folks who are looking to reduce their overall sugar intake? For example, if their option is going to be like a full sugar chrysanthemum tea, but they see the Coke Zero, but the Coke Zero has a B, they're like, screw it, I'll just get the sugary one because this one's not even that good. Whereas the difference in sugar intake and calorie intake is wild.
Yeah.
Is wild. So Nutri-Grade is not a perfect system, but it is a wonderful first step. And again, that brings, just like, throwing the warning label on jalebi. Jalebi's not going to kill you, but
Better bag
but
of it,
being
right?
an informed consumer about the cumulative consumption of jalebi, sure, right? So none of these measures so far are perfected, but hopefully they are promising.
What about who eats? Put your hand up if you eat when you're stressed, bored, sad. Like, who eats sugar based on their emotions? Oh, not as many as I thought. It looks
about half. I would say about half.
Okay.
For those admitting it, no, I'm just kidding.
Right. Did you know there was a study in 2022 which actually showed about 60%, which I guess this seems about right,
about 60%.
of women will eat due to stress, anxiety, sadness, and I guess, just their emotions in general.
Yeah. Who here has tried to break up with sugar? So who here has tried to quit sugar entirely before? Okay, so about a third, I would say.
Yeah.
And again, a similar study out of the same Nielsen Institute showed that 61% of women that are health conscious cite reducing sugar as their top priority. So for health conscious women, 61% say reducing sugar is one of my top priority.
All right. Who loves boba tea here? Does anybody drink it?
Bubble tea, any bubble tea drinkers here? Yeah. Yeah, and again, it's okay to admit we do not shame here on the Forties formula. Yeah. Our men can also contribute. Okay. Yeah. So again, now I am literally always the hammer. Bubble tea. Back to the caffeine and sugar thing. Back to the caffeine and sugar and fat thing. Do you know how many grams of sugar are in? I know. No,
sorry, we're gonna break your bubble
your
now.
heart's gonna fall out your chest. And again, it varies by brand and whatever, right? But for your medium size, we went for your medium size, so small, medium, large. Medium size, regular size, between 35 and 60 grams of sugar in that drink. Between 35 and 60, okay? Yeah. No, I wish it was like, like we should cut in we'll have our ladies cut in some graphics of like how many sugar cubes that is. It's a mountain.
It's a lot.
But to give you an idea, it's 150% of what the WHO, the World Health Organization, says you should get in a day. So it is 1.5. So basically, if you went without sugar for the rest of that day and half of the next day, that would just even you out based on one bubble tea. Also, guys, the sad part about it is that the 0% versions still contain between like 5 and 12, sometimes up to 15 grams of sugar, mainly from the lactose. Mainly from the
No, but there's
milk-based
also
sugar.
the jellies
And the jellies
they
themselves.
will also have sugar in them
if you're actually chewing the balls at the end. So, yeah. So, again, I know I feel like I've lost half our Singapore audience.
Sorry,
I've
guys.
demonized bubble tea, but this is more, again, information providing rather than, decision
Power to
making.
the people.
Power to the people, man.
Okay, guys. Who, like me, is an all or nothing person when it comes to sugar? Can you stop at one? Oh, Sarah says yes. Who else can eat in moderation when it comes to sugar?
Yeah, moderation, folks. I'm team moderation. Like,
Okay.
no problem eating
And
a little bit.
who's all or nothing? Is it just me? Oh no, there's few.
Like, have to finish
Okay.
what's in front of you.
Okay. Well, do you know what? When it comes to sugar, it can be polarizing. For some people, it's really hard to stop. And that does go back to our biology, like your brains, your body, it wants you to eat more because it's thinking, we don't know when your next meal is going to come. You need to take it now, eat it all, and basically get that fat just in case winter is coming.
Yep. Can I offer a tip, though, for the all or nothing folks?
Yes, please do.
Can I be honest? Like, I would say it's the number one cognitive distortion that I see around health habits generally. So this applies to exercise, getting to the gym, for example. Either I'm in the gym 6 days a week or like I just lost it 4 weeks, right? Like I do see this pattern a lot in health habits. And I think what's important here, and this kind of brings us into the how do we solve this problem, is to remember that if you screw up, you are not a failure.
Yeah.
If you are trying to reduce your sugar intake and you find yourself at Liho buying a large bubble tea, take it, accept it, and the next day make a different choice.
Yeah.
I think that having an identity that you are still a healthy person if you choose one unhealthy beverage. You are still a successful person if you didn't quit sugar the first time you tried for the rest of your life, right? You can have two things coexist, which is I'm making healthy choices in my life, and also this one choice was not healthy. Those two things can, you know, they say like two things can be true. And I think nowhere more than in this kind of addiction idea. And that's another reason that I really thwart the term sugar addict, because then that's your identity is someone who is uncontrolled around sugar versus the identity of I'm a healthy person who from time to time enjoys sugar. That's perfectly okay. And I think long-term healthy people are more like that and less like the first. Facts.
Be like Amanda.
Yeah, no, be like what Amanda said. Okay. Yes.
Growing up in the 90s, you always started diets on a Monday.
Yes.
Right? You never started
Monday,
on a
first of the
Tuesday
month or whatever
a
it is. Yeah.
Thursday.
Yep.
And so if you messed up on like Wednesday, oh well, then
It was a
we'll
free
just
for all
do it
till
for
the next
few
Monday.
days. These are free days now, and then I'll start again on Monday.
Yes.
And it was always that all or nothing mindset when it
Yes.
came to healthy eating. You were either on a diet, or you were not on a diet.
Yes.
And there was no middle ground, or at least for me, that's just how I was. I was either dieting or I was excessing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was
And it's almost like you were potentially hyper excessive from Wednesday to Monday because you knew Monday was coming.
Yeah.
So you're like, I fell off the wagon on a Wednesday. Monday, I'm going to be back on it. So I'm going to go ham in the next 4 days until Monday rolls around. And thank you for pointing out that part of the environmental stressors of all this is diet culture, man. Diet culture messed us up.
Especially the 90s.
Especially the 90s.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
90s.
assuming 90s.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. I don't know if anyone saw my Instagram, but my eyebrows were super thin back then.
Yeah. Diet culture also took our eyebrows from us. No. But seriously, I thank you so much, Rebecca, for bringing that up. And I think there are other diet culture holdovers that are specific to sugar. So first of all is the diet starts on Monday.
Yeah.
Second of all is that a healthy diet is restrictive.
Yeah.
It's exclusive. It includes no foods that are not whole, unprocessed, raw, vegan, probiotic, perfect, right? And I think that's another message that, especially in metabolic health, that we like to give to people, which is like your health is a constellation of factors. Your diet is one, and it's a really important one, but it also includes the 5 other factors of lifestyle medicine, right? We also talk about your exercise, your sleep, your avoidance of alcohol and drugs, your social connections. And sometimes sugar is involved in celebrations that are meaningful to us.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to remember that emotional eating of sugar also refers to positive emotions.
Yeah.
Right? We eat sugar when we're celebrating something.
Cake when you're happy.
Cake when you're happy.
Ice cream when you're sad.
Yeah. Oh,
You know?
what's that great quote? Oh, man, I'm going to butcher it. It was something like, I only drink on 2 occasions, when I'm in love and when I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's whoever that's accredited to, we'll put that in the show notes. But it's similar, right? It's like we have to remember that there are positives around things that in excess become negatives, right? So there is a place on the continuum of healthy eating for sugar to exist. And that place is joyful. At least it is in my house. Last afternoon, my parents are in town from California, well, from Arizona now. Wow. New Arizonians. And they're in here, and my dad was baking brownies with my daughter. And they ate some brownies, man. They ate some brownies before dinner. And Mama had to bite her tongue. But yeah, they ate brownies before dinner. And they ate, I don't even know how many brownies. Louise probably had 3. Louise loves a brownie. 2. She's 5 years old. Point being, would it have, did something negatively happen for my daughter because she made brownies with her grandfather on a Wednesday afternoon and ate 2 of them before dinner? No.
She probably didn't eat dinner, though.
She did. Oh, she did.
Oh,
Louise
well.
is a good eater. Okay,
good
props
girl,
to my 5-year-old.
Louise.
But the point is, like, structurally, there should be exceptions to any rule.
Yeah.
And I think sugar is a place where, you know, we can involve celebration, involve family time, involve social connection. And sugar shame. We're going to break the sugar shame. And again, as parents, right? It's one of those things where it's like, if you're bringing treats to the class, right? You get this health halo if you bring, again, unprocessed. If you just bring fruit, let's put it that way. You bring fruit, you're a hero. You bring cookies, you're sugar shamed. And I think there's time. It is time to kind of be sensible and exist in the gray area when it comes to sugar, right? It's not an all or nothing, good or bad.
Does anybody want to share what their favorite sugar treat is that they've tried to give up, but they just really, really can't? Anybody want to share what it is? For me, I really can't give up chocolate. Like chocolate,
Like
milk,
in any form?
milk chocolate bars. Like I've never liked chocolate things. Like I don't like chocolate milkshake. I don't like chocolate ice cream. I don't like chocolate cake. But give me a chocolate bar and I'm yeah. And okay, so
Which brand, says the audience?
So one of the things that I actually did to give up chocolate, because obviously I love it so much, I haven't entirely given it up, is I switched. So I switched. That's a really good way to actually, for someone who's got an all or nothing mindset, trying to go cold turkey is really hard. It's easier to replace it with something else. So actually, I now go for some sugar-free chocolate. There's a guy in the UK, I'm going to give him a quick shout out, Sweet Keto Chef. He makes artisan handmade chocolates, which I use, which are sugar-free, absolutely delicious. And then there's some other brands called Nix, which I tend to sort of bulk buy when I'm in the UK, because they're all sugar-free and they all satisfy my treat of having a creamy, lovely chocolate, but without all the sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry? You can get some in Singapore. So they're off of some grocery stores. You can buy some sugar-free chocolates. There's an Australian brand called Well Naturally. I sometimes actually, I like a peanut butter Quest bar. I mean, who likes it?
Or a Quest cup?
Yeah, the peanut butter Quest cup.
Have you guys seen those, the peanut butter Quest? Yeah, Charlotte's like, yes, I have.
Do you like one of
A
those?
little bit of extra protein with your sugar and fat.
Yeah.
I think I got it on Shopee because a friend from the UK actually originally gave it to me. And there's this like chocolate hazelnut. It is delicious and it's clean. I think, it's sugar-free, vegan, like it's delicious.
Covering it
really, really good. And I think you can get it. I got it online from somewhere. I'll double check. I think it was either
Send me the link.
Amazon or Shopee. That's my go-to.
I think
I'll be honest.
H-U or who, I guess, because it's a capital H and a small U, right? Yeah.
Okay.
I think I've seen it before.
Cold storage.
Yeah, like
I've seen it. Yeah.
maybe it's in cold storage now. Like it's honestly delicious. And for me, like I feel like in Singapore, I don't overeat chocolate, but when I go back to the UK, which I've just come back from, I cannot resist a dairy milk. UK only though, it's not the same.
So not the one that comes from America.
All the Brits tell me about how Cadbury in UK is a total different animal.
So yeah, I've well and truly overeaten for the last 5 weeks and need to get back on track.
Yeah, good timing for this episode.
Yeah. But you do.
But yeah, and I think Jasmine and yourself as well brought up such great points about how do we break a habit. We replace it.
Yeah.
We replace it. It is really hard, guys, to actually break a habit.
Yeah,
it's really hard.
The neural pathways are so ingrained in there. It's really hard to just go cold turkey because one day you're going to be like, I'm so stressed out. My kid didn't sleep. He woke me up at 3 a.m.
Yep.
I need something.
Yeah.
So, like replacing it with something else is the easiest way. And it doesn't have to be a sugar-free chocolate like I do. Maybe you like Greek yogurt and nuts. Maybe you like something else.
Yeah.
Maybe even a protein shake will do. Whatever it is, it's easier to replace than to get rid of completely.
Yeah, replacement is that is a science-backed strategy.
Yeah.
Replacing, for example, people who smoke, when they replace with hard candy, for example, so like when they have the craving for the cue hits for the smoke, they put something in their mouth, it's a hard candy. That tends to help them quit smoking faster than if they just say, I'm just going to resist, man. I'm just going to not have it, So it helps to have a replacement. Also, like we said earlier, it helps to have a identity that is not tied to your worth based on what you're eating.
Yep.
Very helpful. And I think also it's helpful to do some work, some hard work around how you cope with stress, how you cope with negative emotions. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, even if you're replacing, even if you believe that you're a healthy person deep in your soul, in that immediate moment of stress, of breakup, despair, whatever it may be, you're going to reach for something.
Yeah.
And I don't mean food necessarily. I could mean food, but you're going to reach for something. It might be a glass of wine. It might be a fight with your partner. It might be some sort of negative outlet. It can become a positive outlet. And I think this is where the science gets a little bit more clear in what works. Replacement works.
Yep.
Again, identity formation works, but that's hard. And having some sort of positive reinforcement absolutely works. Negative reinforcement does not work. Positive reinforcement is 20 times more effective at forming a habit or breaking a bad habit than negative reinforcement, meaning it will be 20 times easier if you tell yourself that you're doing well or have like a positive reward coming at you than if your strategy is always shame or negative, or in this case, the behavior you don't want, right? So it's like the more you allow the cigarette to happen, the less you make space for the positive cue to a positive reward to happen. So positive reinforcement, making sure that you are confident and, knowing that you are a healthy person, no matter your small transgressions with sugar, and then finding a behavior that replaces it that really works for you. And again, I know that this is relatable for some and not for others, but exercise is a great one.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be lifting weights. It can be going for a walk.
But that's what Amanda recommends.
I mean, first of all, I will throw a barbell to the ground in times of distress. But what I will say is that exercise is one that works and obviously has a positive reinforcement benefit as well.
Amanda, you know how people always ask us, what supplements do you actually take?
Yeah, it's like they think there's some magical midlife stack that'll just fix everything.
Exactly. And while there's no magic, I do like things that are intentional and well formulated, like the longevity bundle from Avea Life.
It's one of the few supplements I'd actually recommend. NMN for cellular energy, booster with antioxidants to support recovery and stress, and a collagen activator because joints and skin need some love too.
Honestly, it's just smart. 3 products that support how we live, busy, health conscious, and not here for the gimmicks.
You can check it all out at avea-life.com and use code FORMULA20 for 20% off at checkout. It's clean, effective, no fluff.
A long time now, and you are a beast. And I want to be you when I grow up because you lift, under her clothes. You see, you should see what she has. She has guns, she has muscles, and when you watch her IG, like her videos of her lifting, deadlifting, and everything. But my husband again is researching his own body and specifically sugar. He realized that with exercise, like you're saying, just exercise, it releases the sugars in your cells.
Yes.
Yeah. So you will have a sugar spike when you exercise.
Yep.
Then you don't need chocolate, right?
Yeah.
And you get the endorphins from the exercise.
Yes.
So if that's a motivation to exercise and you lose weight.
Yeah. And I've seen that. I used to wear a glucose monitor, and just after a HIIT training session, I would have a huge sugar rise, but it wouldn't crash as if I'd had sugar. It would just balance down, go down nicely after I'd eaten, because then my body was using the insulin to put it into all the right places.
Yep. And one other note on exercise and sugar, not that that this is what this episode is about, but I have to comment, is that a lot of folks don't realize that your muscles are your sugar reservoir.
Yeah.
When you eat sugar, where it wants to go is actually into your muscle tissue.
Because
True story.
It goes liver and muscles, but obviously you can have more muscles than you can have more liver.
Yeah. So that's the point. When you don't have enough muscles to hold all the sugar that you're eating, it spills over, and that's when it starts to go into the liver in excess.
And fat. So body fat will then store all the excess sugar that your body can't be stored when it can't be stored into the muscle space.
Yeah. So your best defense against sugar-based diseases like diabetes is more muscle. It's not necessarily less fat. Everyone thinks that it's a fat loss game when it comes to managing diabetes, and it's actually a muscle gains game.
Yes.
So that's my metabolic health corner sponsored by Live Clinic. But that being said, we want to take these last few minutes to open the floor to y'all. Anything, the reason you came here today, you probably had a question on your mind, or maybe just a comment like Rebecca's amazing comment about diet culture. We would love to hear from you guys. What's up? And again, we do have a mic up front. If you guys don't mind speaking into the mic, just because then the recording will pick it up.
For the recording.
I'm happy to start because I've got the mic in front of my hand.
Because I'm holding the
So
mic.
we've talked a lot about, replacing a sugary chocolate with a non-sugary chocolate, for example, or full Coke for Coke Zero, which I used to do, and now I seem to be drawn back to Coke Light. But is the sugar that's in a non-sugar advertised item actually that good for us, or is it still actually being processed as sugar? You talked about the OSAs, right? If you have that non-sugar
Sucralose.
chocolate bar, right, sucralose, it's still a sugar. So is it really not sugar? What's the difference?
So you can get things which are things like sugar alcohols, so different type of non-nutritive sweeteners. So, for example, what's in Coke Zero is sucralose, right?
In Coke Light is sucralose, and Coke Zero is stevia.
So what that does is that doesn't actually stimulate a blood sugar response. There are some sweeteners out there which do, like maltitol, which people think, is a sugar-free item, but that's because it's a sugar alcohol, which is technically not a sugar or alcohol. It's processed differently, but it does still raise some of your blood sugar levels. The things like stevia, monk fruit, erythritol, I can't say it, but that one, they actually don't have an impact on your blood sugar level. So technically, they are then, from that perspective, it will not impact your blood sugar levels. It will not cause energy crashes. It will not cause cravings in the same way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one we get a lot is like, is diet soda bad for you? And again, if it's diet soda versus regular soda, no comparison. I mean, it is a billion times better for you. If it's diet soda versus water, not better for you, okay? Because water is obviously chemical-free and ideal.
Yeah.
But in terms of, is diet soda the fulcrum upon which your diet success or failure falls? Never. It is not. It's fine.
On from that, right? 2 young kids. Cakes always come up about birthday parties, and I need to have this sugar-free cake, which I'm not a fan of personally. I'd rather just put the sugar in. But people love to put like your honey or your maple syrup in there. They're all similar, right? Is there really a big difference in that? Again, we talked about joy. So I mean more on the nutrition side rather than the joy side. Right?
So when it comes to things like honey, maple syrup, in your body, it does still impact your blood sugar the same way. So it really...
Your kids are going to get hyper.
Yeah.
They're going to get hyper on white sugar. They're going to get hyper on honey.
But the difference is honey will have some vitamins and some minerals or whatever it is. So it really depends on why you're having it. If it's like an everyday thing, probably not worth it. But if it's an occasional thing, either will do. If you really feel, if it makes you feel better that actually honey's slightly healthier, fine, you know. But if honey then creeps into your 3 cups of tea every single day, it's basically the same as just having sugar anyway.
Yeah. And this is definitely a dose makes the poison situation as well, right? If the accumulation of refined sugars over the course of the diet is too high,
sugars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But if it's part of a whole foods based diet and every now and then there's a cake with real sugar in it, you know what I mean? It's
or honey. It just depends, I guess, on preference when it comes to that. But I wouldn't say that a honey cake is any better than a sugar cake in terms of health.
Okay, so we're talking about these sugar replacements that have like low GI or zero GI effect, which is the glucose index.
Glycemic
index. And so some people say that, if you take a lot of stevia, you would get cancer because it's an artificial sugar. What are your thoughts on this, and how much can one take?
This is an in-rat situation. There was this great website. Oh, again, I'm going to butcher it, but it was like something like inrats.com or whatever, which is like all these studies that influencers and other folks cite that are really only based on studies in rats. You know what I mean? But they draw the conclusions to humans. This is one of those in rat situations. So we do know that certain artificial sugars, particularly sucralose, in fact, has been known to cause lab rats to have cancer. But again, in artificially high doses where like a human being would never be taking, like you'd have to drink like 24 Diet Cokes per day for 74 days or something. And again, never actually in humans. So only demonstrated in rats and only at this volume that is like really atypical. So it's one of those things where, I wouldn't take alarm to having those fake sugars in the diet at this point. Now, real quick side note, there are some gut-related problems that people have with particularly sugar alcohols. Yeah. So some sugar alcohols can cause bloating and distension, which can feel very uncomfortable. Yeah, and not for everyone. But it is one of those things where, you know, there's what is healthy and what makes your body feel not so good. And for some folks, even if it's 0 calories, 0 sugar, if you have that particular protein bar in this particular case,
And you're farting.
and you're yeah, pretty much, yeah, then you're probably not going to want to return to that food. So at the end of the day, guys, a whole foods, unprocessed diet is always going to make you feel good. So make that your starting point, and then maybe work backwards from there with the treats that you want to have.
You were talking about kids and starting this behavior and habits early. What are your suggestions, like behaviors now? What are you guys doing? Are you offering like fruit as your dessert, or what is it that you guys...
I can give a quick example, given the brownies from yesterday, is that something that we do very mindfully, and this is more to the diet culture piece and kind of the role of food in our lives, is that we don't restrict our kids' dessert-style foods to only dessert time, and we don't use them as rewards.
Yeah.
So we don't say, if you finish all your plate, then you get this thing. It's like, hey, we baked brownies at 2 o'clock. They were hot at 2:30. We ate them at 2:30. You know, like it's one of those things where we integrate what would be seen as treat foods into the everyday fabric of our lives so that they don't become segmented out as special or rewards or only. It's part of something that we enjoy as a family. And it's not something that you have to earn or that holds a special place in the diet. So for us, a strategy that we use is just to make treat foods normal.
We actually take a different approach. So we tend to be, I'm going to say, a low sugar family. I try not to give my kids sugar regularly. We also do not give them dessert every day. It's, you know, it does become a treat. And usually they tend to get it after in special moments. So if they're going to a birthday party, whatever it is, you know, we won't restrict it at that point. But, you know, we're like, okay, you know, you've done great at football today. You can have an ice cream or whatever it is, because we're trying to, again, I guess with the timings, make sure that they're having it at the right times. And again, we haven't made it part of our daily lifestyle to have dessert every day after dinner, because then it's something that they will come to expect.
Yeah, great question, though. Open up, folks. Yeah. Again, you paid the ticket price. Get your question in.
I don't know if it's a question as such, but we haven't talked about my favourite sugar, which is wine.
Yes.
So we were having like some little chats at the back going, you know, like our reward at the end of the day is not a chocolate bar. It's more likely to be a glass of wine. Yes. And especially the social aspect of drinking wine with, you know, with friends. Yeah. And if you're very social...
Yeah,
that can end up sometimes being, you know, I guess a lot of sugar. So it's not really so much a question, more just a point, but to see what you guys had to say about that side of sugar.
I mean, those who have had consultations with me, not, you know, pointing to anyone in this room, but y'all know who you are. When we talk about alcohol, I like to use the analogy of the train on the tracks. So the train on the tracks is your metabolism, right? So you're going through your day, everything's running great, right? You wake up, you eat, the train starts going. You exercise, the train goes a little faster. You know, you have some nice, you have a good night's sleep. The train's right there on the track. Now comes in the alcohol. Suddenly, the train is diverted, the metabolic train, meaning the processes you were setting up with food and sleep and regular exercise, meaning fat burning, and muscle protein synthesis, the two most important things that most of us are concerned with for body composition, those are now in the off position, and you flicked on the get this alcohol out of my system part of your metabolism, right? The detoxifying part of the metabolism. Alcohol, unfortunately, is and will always be a poison in a way that sugar is not, as a matter of fact. So your body knows what to do with sugar. Your body does not know what to do with alcohol except get it the F out of my body. So when you introduce alcohol in any quantity, and like I said, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, it shuts off all of the other things that your metabolism would otherwise be doing for you in a positive way. You aren't burning fat, you aren't building muscle, and it has the longer term effect of disrupting your sleep, which then prolongs that fat the lack of fat burning, as well as difficulty building muscle. So if you're someone who is on a body composition journey, on a weight gain journey for musculature, someone who's trying to become a better athlete, alcohol, unfortunately, cannot do you any favors.
I'm not trying to become an athlete then.
So we actually put a glucose monitor on my dad, and we had a barbecue on the weekend. And I know he was eating all the stuff he shouldn't have been eating, and he was also drinking alcohol at the same time. When I was checking his glucose monitor, I said to him, Dad, what did you eat at 2 a.m.? He was like, nothing. I didn't eat anything at 2 o'clock. But what alcohol did was, because alcohol had to get out of the system, it delayed the glucose spike to later on, and it basically showed this massive spike and crash when you should have been sleeping. Again, disrupting the sleep. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know, like
Sorry.
Rebecca's going to put the mic down and walk out of this event. But hey, but again, back to positive social connections is one of the 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine. There is a place for mindful drinking, but just make sure it's mindful.
Yeah.
You know, knowledge is power, and if you are in control of the choices that you're making, then you acknowledge the trade-offs.
And then it gets to that point, doesn't it? When you start having one glass, then one glass becomes one bottle, then one bottle becomes, a burger and chips and whatever else it is. And I think that basically doesn't help to whatever your goals are overall.
Yeah. Interesting fun fact, back to what you'd asked me earlier about Ozempic.
Oh, yes.
Folks that start taking Ozempic or other GLP-1 agonist drugs do tend to find that their desire to drink alcohol also decreases. So more research is showing that it's not just it works on your appetite necessarily, it works on kind of your desire or
It's that
cravings.
dopamine.
Yeah.
So people, and it's also shown on people who've got shopping addictions as well. So,
Yes. Yeah, gambling as well. There's a bunch of new research, like how far can this drug go?
Yeah.
So stay tuned. Great question. Thank you.
Any other questions? Oh, just behind you, Rebecca.
Jasmin, you just mentioned the glucose monitors.
Yes.
Is that the answer to kind of give you the kicker or the insight in terms of how bad it really is for you?
I think the insight, it can really help because you might be insulin resistant, you might have pre-diabetes. I'm not saying everyone does, but that at this age, you do tend to become a bit more insulin resistant, especially if your hormones are playing off. I know you might say, right, well, I wake up, I have a smoothie in the morning, I then go on and have a sandwich for lunch and whatever it is. And that smoothie could be making your glucose go all over the place because it might be too much glucose for you. So understanding what's happening with the foods that you are eating, it will give you that insight that you need. You don't have to use it forever. Even like just 2 weeks of knowing what you generally eat will give you that sort of, it's like a fact finding thing. So, you can get on there and figure out what works for you, what doesn't. Maybe a sourdough toast on its own with butter isn't working, but you can add on some avocado, maybe some eggs, eat smoked salmon, and you're like, oh, do you know what? This is better for me. This is not spiking my blood sugar levels.
Yeah, it's absolutely a fact-finding mission, I think.
Yeah.
My husband and I, we obviously have these at our Live Clinic, and we had to test ourselves, right? And I kept trying to make it spike. Like that was my thing was like, what can actually make my blood sugar spike? The only thing over 10 days that made it spike, this might be interesting for some of you, is mango sticky rice.
I remember asking you
mango
that. Mango
sticky rice. The combination, I think, of fructose from the mango, glucose from the white rice, and then probably some sucrose from the coconut sauce stuff. Yeah. So that triple sugar, like boom, that was the only thing that got me up.
And one of the surprising ones that I found was we went to Harry's and I had some chicken satay and my blood sugar spiked like crazy. And here I was thinking, oh, I'm just having chicken satay. But yeah, it was intense. It was a crazy, crazy spike.
So I fast. Yeah. And I really enjoy it. Intermittent fasting. I'm 16-8 or 18-4. Sometimes I do 48 hours.
Is in fasting for
18 hours and 4 hours of eating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 6.
Yeah, I was like, that's just
18 and 6. I'm nothing mathematically here.
It's 20 and 4.
16-8 or 18-6. So my husband, again, is obsessed with this, and he's doing his research on it. So he wears this monitor often, CGM. What is it? Continuous glucose monitor. And so we also noticed in his research that when you're fasting, you're actually releasing burning all of your sugar.
Yeah.
But my question, though, is really as women, we are then told, how do we fast? Do we do 16-8, which is recommended for most of us in the 40s? And if that will help our sugar levels, do you recommend it? Do you not? Or
I think it's all very individualized. I think everyone should probably go 12 hours regardless. A 12-hour overnight fast technically isn't a fast. It should just be the time in which you don't eat because your body does need to rest and digest. Now, I've done a lot of fasting. I used to do 36 hours sort of on and off rotating fasting.
Yeah. If you listen to season 1, you can hear Jasmine's stomach growl.
Yes, you can. But I actually switched that up because what I found was after a certain point, I started losing a lot of muscle and those aggressive fasts were just too much for me. So I've stopped fasting like that. Then I switched over to fasting like from the morning and having a late lunch and then a dinner. Realized that wasn't working for me. And now I'm fasting again, but I switched it up. So I tend to eat dinner by 4 p.m. And what I've realized is by stopping at 4 o'clock, I will get into the rest sort of the rest state, my parasympathetic state, much faster at night. My recovery scores are amazing. My sleep is amazing. And I actually wake up feeling better. And so I will front load my food. I will eat breakfast. I'll have lunch, maybe a very early dinner if I need an extra meal. But usually I'll have 2 meals and that is sufficient for me. But it really depends on your own journey, because for some women, actually fasting in the morning may raise their cortisol levels. If you're highly stressed, you become more insulin resistant because your body thinks that there's a famine happening and then it won't process the so your body is clever. It wants you to be fat, guys, I'm telling you.
Yeah. And I think, just to build on that, what we do at Lift Clinic, right, is when we're advising patients for weight management, we say you got 3 levers you can pull to change your weight. 1 is to restrict calories, overall energy. 1 is to restrict food type. So, for example, eliminating carbohydrates. And 1 is to restrict the time in which you eat, right?
You can even combine. Combine them.
So that's my point. Is like they're like dials.
Yeah.
And so for each individual patient, it might be a different combination of those dials. Some just turn up the time restriction, and that's enough for them, right? And that helps with typically men. Some use a little bit of time restrictions, let's say, like you said, 12 hours of digestive rest, and then they also maybe reduce their carbohydrate load, and that works for them. They use the middle one and the time one. So using those 3 dials is how each and every one of us can adjust our body composition, but it's very much up to what your lifestyle is, how you exercise, when you exercise, and what your eventual goals are. Yeah.
Sapna?
Hi, I recently read a book or listened to a podcast, I can't remember what, on from the glucose goddess. I've forgotten her real name. But
what you're something Giuseppe or something like that.
And obviously, in an ideal world, we would all like to just reduce sugar, period, and avoid it. But what are your thoughts about some of the hacks that she presents in terms of either timing around food, which I think you've kind of addressed, but I think another couple of them are she sometimes suggests to have apple cider vinegar before having either sugary or high carby kind of food. And I think one of the others is the order in which you eat food. So if you are presented with protein, carbs, fats, kind of start with your protein and your fats, leave the carbs, so leave the sugar to the end. Things I think there's a few others, but what are your thoughts generally on some of these hacks? Is it a case of obviously ideally avoid everything, but if you are going to have it, try and...
Ideally avoid everything. Yes. No.
But, we live in the real world and, sometimes we need a treat. So, just general thoughts on these kind of things.
Generally, it does make a difference. So, is it the acetic acid in the vinegar, which will help to blunt the glucose spikes? It doesn't mean you won't get a glucose spike, but it just means that it's going to be have a lesser effect on your blood sugar levels. Same with timing, which is what I mentioned earlier, having it sort of in the middle of the day after exercise. Again, even the order in which you eat food. So if you end up eating your veggies and which is the fiber and the protein first, before you eat the carbohydrate element, you'll have a lower glucose spike than you would if you were to eat it, with the, dessert first followed by the rest of your meal.
Yeah. And I think, the glucose goddess, I think she has a lot of amazing tips. And I think she translates a lot of kind of study-based information about glucose and glycemic index into what's very actionable. But of course, sitting here in the athlete's chair, I must caution folks that you have to come at the information that you're looking for with a profile that is like your own.
Yeah.
So I'm not insulin resistant. I don't need to cut carbs. So if I was to adhere to some of the things that the glucose goddess was saying, for me personally, my performance would suffer. I wouldn't be getting enough carbohydrates and enough fast-acting carbs for what I need for my athletic endeavors. So I think, when you are seeking out health information, either, make sure that it is deeply personalized, like what, Sarah's husband, Dean, does, what we do, or make sure that the profile of that person matches your profile of the thing that you're trying to achieve. Because I do think there is some caution in just saying, carbs are bad, sugar's terrible. It's like, but wait, if you're an athlete, I take pure maltodextrin for certain events that I do, because that's the only way that I can hit the paces that I need. So, for some folks, it's more of knowing, not for some folks, for everyone, it's more of being able to execute your sugar consumption in a way that makes sense for your performance outcomes. So just we'll caveat that.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else, guys?
All right. Well, folks, I think we have come to the end of our very first live event with the Forties Formula. Thank you so much. Can you get a round of applause?
Thank you.
For an amazing audience. Another round of applause for Guzman Gomez and the Green Collective for sponsoring this event. And can we just get a little sized applause for our team, our amazing audio video team, Amir and Hanafi, helping us out from start to finish with this event. You guys, we could not have done it without you. So really, thank you. So guys, sugar, not our best friend, more like a frenemy. But that being said, that doesn't mean that we have to exclude her from every party, okay? She can be invited every now and then. And we just hope that you're feeling more educated and empowered to know the role of sugar in your own lives.
Thank you, guys. We really appreciate you all being here. If you haven't already, you can grab a keyring, add your email address to the back, and listen out for this episode, which should air next week on Apple.
Today.
Yes, on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever else you listen to it. And also, if you can share it with a friend, subscribe, like all of the free stuff you can do to help support the show.
Yep. You can also sign up for our email list at the40sformula.com. And folks, after the event, don't forget that your ticket entitles you to 12% off an $88 purchase here in the Green Collective. So guys, I'm addicted to this store. You should know. Come to my house. You'll see half this stuff in there. Make sure you take a look around afterwards. And again, keep your boundaries firm, your blood sugar stable, and we will see you guys next time.
I've actually got one quick thing which we forgot to mention. Amanda and I are really, really excited to say that we have actually been listed as a finalist for the Asia Radio Podcast Awards.
As of last night.
Yes.
As of last
night. So we are really grateful for all of your support, but we do need your help. So please, 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 we'll send out some links later on, but if you could all vote for us to help us win, I guess. So, that it would mean the world to us. We would really appreciate your support in getting further. But just being entered as a finalist is incredible.
We did not expect it.
Yeah, so we're really excited. So thank you, guys. Thank you.
We talk a lot on the podcast about showing up for ourselves, but it really does start with what we put in our bodies.
Exactly. I'm at that stage where I want to feel strong, clear-headed, and feel like my skin's not giving up on me.
Relatable. So what is your go-to right now?
I've been using Avea Life's longevity bundle. It includes NMN to support energy metabolism, booster for antioxidant protection, and collagen activator, which honestly has been lovely for my skin and joints.
It's that whole body support without the fluff. Perfect for women who want to feel good, not just look good.
Couldn't agree more. And for our listeners, you can get 20% off at avea-life.com and use code Formula20 for 20% off.
Before we go, please remember to hit subscribe and take a moment to support the 40s Formula by leaving a review on your favorite podcast platform.
Your reviews will help us to reach more people and allow us to continue to bring valuable content. It should only take a moment, and it's a free way for you to support the show.
You can also stay updated with the 40s Formula by following us on Instagram at the 40s Formula, all one word. We share behind-the-scenes insights, episode updates, and much more, so please be sure to hit that follow button.
We appreciate your time and support. Thank you for being part of this community, and we'll be back next week for more empowering conversations with inspiring guests.
Bye.
Bye.